Yo, what is going on, guys? Got an absolutely hilarious video for you here today. As always, the silent crisis. Women in their 30s are struggling with singlehood, okay? They are struggling being single women. They're struggling to get boyfriends. They're struggling to get husbands. And boy, is it absolutely hilarious. So let's jump right into this one. As always, guys, do not forget to leave your thoughts and your comments.
Today I deleted the dating apps because I matched with a man whose first message to me was, "I bet your day just got a lot better because we matched."
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll look at various situations involving modern women, such as one discussing a test she gave a man that went quite poorly, and another who doesn't talk about her divorce because she wanted to be strong and independent. Your support is super important to us. Give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Share your experiences and advice in the comments. That's what helps this community grow. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's get started.
I was dating a guy and he flew out another girl to stay with him while I was out of town. So let's set the scene. I meet this guy on Hinge, this was a couple years ago, and we'd been dating for about a month. And I had plans to go out of the country for about a week and a half, which he had known about since we first met. And about a week before I'm supposed to leave, he says, "Hey, there's something I want to talk to you about." I had told this girl who I know, who is from another state, we met, through mutual friends and stayed in touch, that she could come stay with me for a few days. Those dates coincided with when I was out of town. So he says, I had told this girl she could fly out and come stay with me, and if it makes you uncomfortable, I will cancel the trip and tell her not to come. So he was putting it on me to cancel this girl's flights, and I was like, absolutely not. I'm not making that.
I absolutely find it so funny, guys, when modern women don't realize that they are just an option for these men. Okay, you have a lot of dudes out here who have a whole bunch of options with women, the top percentage of guys, and guess what? They have no reason to commit to these women whatsoever. They are just another plaything for these dudes. And then, they have the audacity to get really mad about this. He's so mean. He's so evil. When number one, they never even had a relationship with these guys in the first place, usually. And number two, she knows what she's getting herself involved in. She knows that these men are seeing other women, and yet they still choose to do it. I've said this before, guys, but modern women, essentially what they do is they form harems by themselves. They all date the same dude.
That decision for you. So I said, we're not exclusive. We've only known each other for a month. I want you to do what you would do in this situation. If based on your own ethics and your own moral compass, you feel like it's not appropriate to fly out a girl from another state and have her stay with you while the girl you're dating that you really like is out of town, don't do it. If you feel like it is appropriate.
Oh, the poor thing, guys, she thinks that the dude actually gives a damn about her. Isn't that funny? I love how women do this to themselves, man. And make no mistake, it is entirely self-inflicted, by the way. They choose to see these guys. They know they are one of many different women. And then they see them casually for literally a whole entire month, by the way, giving your body up to this dude, disrespecting yourself, not getting the relationship first. And then you're like, wow, I'm shocked that he's seeing other women, but he really cares about me. No, he doesn't. If he actually cared about you and thought you were a serious option, you know what he would do? You know what he would do? He would have a relationship with you.
Then you should do it. And I will react to whatever decision you make in the way that I feel is appropriate. Now, you might be saying you're playing games, you're testing him, but the reality of it is none of that is true. I want to know the morals, the ethics, the behavior of the person I'm dating without me having to dictate that for them. So if you're the kind of person who wants to fly out a girl from another state and have her stay with you while the girl you like is out of town, maybe we're not compatible, but I don't want to have to tell you.
Okay, stop. This woman, she thinks she's vetting. See, this is so crazy to me, guys. As women end up 30 years of age, they're still single, they've got no man, and this is their vetting process to find a good man. Well, I'm going to sleep with him for a whole month, okay? I don't have a relationship with this guy. He's clearly interested in other women, but you know what? Let me just test his morals. Again, I will say this, guys. If she cared about this dude's morals, she wouldn't be there right now. She would recognize that this dude probably has a whole bunch of red flags, one of which is, you know, he's obviously not wanting to be exclusive with her, and she would move on. But modern women make excuses for the men that they are attracted to, guys. Modern women make it very, very easy for men that they are actually interested in. You know, a lot of guys, they ask questions like, oh, she said this, does this mean that she's interested, and all of these sorts of things. But guys, the fact of the matter is, if the woman actually liked you, you would damn well know about it. Because you can literally say to her face, hey, I'm going to fly in another woman to come and see me. And she's still going to sit there and think, well, you know, let me just see how this plays out. So stupid, guys. So incredibly stupid. And I have no sympathy for these women whatsoever. And you might ask yourself the question, Taylor, isn't that a bit unfair? You know, these women over the age of 30, what if they're still out there looking for love? These women have had their chance at love. A lot of guys aren't even attractive until they reach the age of 30. Hell, a lot of guys aren't even attractive to women at 30. So a bit of a different standard here because women have it so damn easy in dating, and yet they are so terrible at it. Let's continue.
You not to do that, not my responsibility. So I said a nicer version of that, and he never brought it up again, and I went out of town, so I assumed that this girl just didn't come.
No. The woman came over. He just didn't care enough to tell you about it. Really quite simple, really easy. But yeah, she just assumes. She's like, wow, I really laid down the law there. You know, I really showed him who's boss. But the dude just invites her anyway.
And for a bunch of different reasons, I end up coming back for my trip like 2 or 3 days early.
Yeah, she did that on purpose because she knew and she didn't want to push it by asking. Guys, notice how women tell these stories, by the way. It's like, it's always half truths, you know, like it's kind of the truth, but not really. She came home early because she didn't want to push this line of questioning anymore. And the reason why women do this, by the way, is because they don't want Chad to ditch them, right? They always figure if I ask too many questions, if I continue to push for things, he's going to get annoyed at me and he's going to leave me. Contrast that to the regular man's experience, guys. Again, he has to pay for all the dates. He has to show how moral he is. He has to be monogamous. You know, Chad doesn't have to be monogamous. This guy who's been attractive to her for this past month has been having bedroom fun with her with no strings attached whatsoever, is actively seeing other women, and she refuses to push the issue. Really funny how that works with modern women, guys, you know?
And the morning I get back, he says, hey, when you get back from the airport, let's go get breakfast. And I say, sure, I'm not doing anything. So we meet up for breakfast. And as we're leaving, I think I asked, like, hey, what happened with that girl? Like, how did you cancel her trip?
Yeah, she doesn't think she asked. She knows she asked. That's why she came home early, so she could see what's going on. She didn't see any evidence of it, so she followed up with the question. She knew exactly what she was doing, guys. These stories, I am telling you, women always leave out the key little details, you know, about what they're thinking, what they're doing, their role in everything. They just want to come across like, oh, one thing led to another. Things just sort of happened, and that's the way it went. Because
he hadn't said anything about it, so I was assuming that she didn't come. And he said, oh, I didn't. She ended up coming and staying with me. And I said, oh, when did she leave? And he says, she hasn't left. I'm going back to my house right now to drop her off at the airport. So he left this girl who flew out to stay with him to have breakfast with me and then told me about it. And then when I said, are you out of your mind? He said, I thought you would be flattered that I left her to hang out with you. So, yeah, I don't know. It's giving psycho. But
yeah, and notice what she does. We blame the man. The man is the psycho. It's not her fault for actually being there, right? It's not, you know, there's no accountability for her to take. The fact that she's entertaining this guy in the first place, guys. It's always men are the bad ones. And I'll say this, by the way, this dude seems to me like he's been transparent the whole time. You know, he's been straight up honest with the woman. And she continues to stay there, but apparently he's the bad man. This is why I don't believe women's sob stories, guys, when they're like, yeah, you know, all these men are terrible and blah, 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 blah. Number one, they put themselves in these positions. Number two, a lot of the times the men are honest, and even if they aren't, it's very damn obvious. But yeah, I wonder why women are having issues dating in their 30s, guys. I have no idea.
I say all that because you don't necessarily need to dictate someone's behavior, especially in early dating. Let them show you who they are. Let them show you how they treat people they're dating, because that gives you all the information you need.
Sometimes when I hear these kinds of stories, I ask myself if common sense has been lost, or if people just don't think before they speak. Who in their right mind would think that saying something like that to a woman would be taken as a compliment? But I must also say that if a man asks you a question about a decision in the relationship, just answer right away. Stop putting silly tests to see what he'll do. Why tell him you're not exclusive just before going on a trip, giving the impression that if an opportunity came up for you, you wouldn't miss it because you're not in a relationship with him, because you're not exclusive. Every man, no matter how virtuous, wants to experience as much intimacy as possible, especially when he's young. If she had simply said, "I don't think that's a good idea. It's true we're not exclusive, but we're trying to build a relationship, so I don't think it's right to be with another woman," clear, simple, and direct, I bet the story would have turned out differently.
Guys, if you want to find out if your partner's cheating on you, this is a good test to try. Of course, this isn't foolproof, but it's a good test to try, okay? And this applies to both men and women. Married and not married, okay? So one day, say you're in the kitchen with your partner, okay? Just tell your partner that a mutual friend has been cheated on recently and observe their reaction. If they respond quickly with concern, disgust, and surprise, like, "I can't believe that person would do that person dirty like that," you're good to go, you're fine. But if your person gives you like a blank stare and they're clearly thinking, chances are they're thinking of their affair and they're thinking of their scenario and if maybe they'll get caught. Now, again, this isn't guaranteed, but it's a very good test, and I'm speaking from experience, so try that out and hopefully your person passes the test.
Doubt this kind of manipulation works because women are experts at manipulating with words. For me, you'd notice if someone is deceiving you by paying attention to their routine and what has changed. Look for those small new behaviors they've added. Ask about those outings they didn't used to have and where they went. Then, when they tell you where they were, ask a casual question and use pauses to let them talk. At that moment, stay silent and look at them intently. People tend to fill the silence when you do this, which often leads them to say things they didn't intend to. This helps you so that, days or even hours later, you can ask the same question again and notice any changes in the story. When people lie, they tend to change the details because they don't have everything clearly in their memory, and that's how you'll catch them lying and realize they're deceiving you.
Yeah, so one of the really sad parts, by the way, about women cheating, and I think The Wall, which is this channel, worded this pretty nicely here, is that women are really, really good at manipulating these sorts of things typically. I mean, not always. Some of them are just, you know, not the brightest. But women are very, very good at manipulating. They are very, very good at lying and covering their tracks and things like this. And there are a lot of women out there who, if they cheat on you, you will never realistically have any idea that it even happened. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Like, you're just not going to find out unless you go through some pretty extreme measures in order to do so. And that's the cold truth about it. That really is. I think women are way better with certain types of social aspects, particularly with, I think they're a lot better in a lot of social situations, recognizing feelings and things like this, and also just straight up manipulation. I think dudes are really bad at this because we never really think about it, nor do we care about doing this. Usually we communicate pretty directly.
I've been married for 12 years, and in my marriage, I've gone through a separation, which I've talked about on my TikTok. If you don't know, you can go back, and I talked about how my marriage fell apart and what it taught me. But
oh, of course. What better way to handle a divorce, by the way, than to jump on TikTok and make a video series about it with all of the things that you've quote unquote learned. This is why dudes don't want to marry women in the first place, man. I mean, divorce laws and everything aside, okay, is who the hell wants to marry and date a woman who is going to air out your dirty laundry on TikTok for literally everybody to see, guys? This is, again, these are public videos.
But the one lesson that I wanted to share that I've learned after going through the separation with my husband, and we're still together, is that I've realized that you can do everything on your own. Like, I had this theory or like this, constant need of certain things that I just didn't feel like I could do. Like, when we went through the separation, it made me realize how dependent we become in a marriage, right? Because we both start relying on each other for certain things. And I think that is conducive and that is good for a marriage. But I think we should also
Yeah, I love when I'm able to rely on the man to pay my bills. So what she's really trying to say here is she didn't know how she would fare financially after she decided to divorce his ass. That's essentially what it comes down to. And that's the reason why, a lot of women are scared to divorce, is they want to make sure they have all of their ducks lined up, essentially, so that when they do end up doing this divorce, that they actually get money and they get the resources out of it, because a lot of girls are considering, well, what if I leave too early? Can I still get his money? And things like this. You might think I'm joking, guys, but I am dead serious when I say this, that these are considerations that women make. I was concerned what my life might look like. Translation, I am concerned that I'm not going to be able to get his money.
also adopt the mentality that we are capable of doing everything on our own, because we must learn to do things on our own, because it teaches us, one, things that we don't know how to do, and two, it builds self-confidence and independence, which I think women lack, because we've been grown up, especially in certain cultures, coming from a South Asian cultures, we are told that, our independence is very short, right? Like, go through school, and then right after that, you get married, and then you have a husband, and then he takes care of you. So that's like ingrained.
Yeah, right. What a difficult life, guys. Go out there, just immediately get married and have somebody else look after you. It's not that difficult for modern women, I'll say that, but they still manage to screw it up really, really badly here. But no, in most Western cultures, you are taught that you don't need no man for nothing. If you look at modern day media these days, guys, the women are pretty much always portrayed as very level-headed, very rational, very competent individuals. And the dudes, particularly in movies and things like this, are always portrayed as some bumbling idiot who nobody respects and he has no social skills and so on and so forth. Like, I don't buy this stuff, man. Maybe in Southeast Asian countries or whatever, that might be different. But again, hell, women aren't even encouraged to marry over here, by the way. They're encouraged to eventually marry, but certainly not when they're young. I mean, how many women do you see these days, guys? What they do is they put off marriage until they're like, I don't know, like 31, because they realize that they're running out of time. And now they want to settle down and have a family because their biological clock is ticking. They need dudes to start paying the bills so that they don't have to work anymore. And then they wonder why these men don't want to marry these women.
In our heads, in our minds for so many years, and so much conditioning has happened around that. Yes, you can rely on support versus need. Support versus dependence are two very different things. My husband very much supports me, but after the separation, I've also made it very clear that I am not dependent. I'm not.
Right, so we're taking his money, but not because we need it. Therein lies the translation, guys. We're taking the dude's money, but we don't need to take his money. We're receiving money from the man, but we are strong and we are still independent. How very brave, how very stunning of you. This is the duality of modern women, guys. An absolute mess here. So on the one hand, strong and independent. On the other hand, you still need resources from your husband and such in order to fund your life. I'm sorry, guys, but you can't have both. You're either strong and independent, you don't need no man, you can do things by yourself, or you're taking his resources. You're not doing both.
Dependent on you for anything. I have survived on my own, and I continue to survive on my own. And the only way I learned that is going through a separation. Yes, I want a strong support system, but I do not depend and rely on anyone, because
yes, here's the translation to this nonsense, guys. Why women are single, particularly the ones over 30. They want your finances, they want your provisioning, they want their traditional relationships, they want you to look after them. However, they don't actually want to have any of the responsibility that comes along with those particular things. That is modern women in a nutshell, essentially. We want all of the privilege, but we want none of the responsibilities that come with having a relationship, come with being a wife, and things like this.
I am an independent and strong woman that can pick herself back up when she falls.
And that's exactly why they left you, why they got divorced. This story seems interesting to bring up here, but I want you to notice something. These types of women are the ones who get married with the mindset that they're missing out on something. This makes them see marriage as just another checkbox to tick in life, rather than as the union of two people who want to build a life together. I say this because she saw the support of marriage, her husband's support, as making her codependent on him, when in reality, being in a relationship means you're supposed to rely on each other. That's what being a couple is about. But if your mindset shifts to seeing everything your husband does for you as making you codependent, of course, over time, you'll view him as someone who wants to rob you of your freedom. In short, you start to see your marriage as a prison that takes away your independence. These types of women are the ones men fear the most because they're the ones who ask for a divorce without a valid reason, driven only by an existential crisis that makes them see marriage as a prison, spurred on by false empowerment that makes them believe that being in a relationship is stopping them from living a fulfilling life.
No, see, you know what else does this, by the way, with modern women? What gives them this this feeling that they're missing out? The simple answer is they have been with too many dudes. You know, they've been with too many guys, so they can't be happy in a relationship anymore. They always feel like there is something else out there for them that they need to return to. You know, they're always thinking about that previous man. That's why, you know, you have these girls who they've been with a whole bunch of different dudes. They can never make a relationship work because they can't pair bond anymore. They're always thinking about the previous men. They're always thinking about, well, you know, James over here, he did this differently, and this guy has more money, but this guy's more attractive, and you're always constantly being compared to the previous men. And so she's thinking, you know, I'm strong, I need to be independent. But the reason she's saying she needs to be independent is because, number one, she wants to go out there and smash other dudes, and number two, she doesn't respect, or she's not attracted to you. Women who respect and are highly attracted to you, by the way, they don't want to be independent. That's the last thing that comes out of their mouth. They want to have you be their boyfriend or their wife, boyfriend or husband, and things like this. They want you in their lives, and they want to be viewed as inseparable. The only time you hear this, oh, I want to be independent crap, is when they've been with a whole bunch of different dudes and they're not attracted to the guy they're with.
That's why, later on, you see them hit the wall.
This is part one of me finding my fiance naked with his married coworker on my wedding day. We started dating in 2014 and we were supposed to get married September 30th, 2017. In the days leading up to the wedding, it was 5 days before, like something just not right with this one girl that he worked with. And I asked him about it and he's like, you're crazy, there's nothing going on, yada yada. 5 days before the wedding, he's like, you don't trust me enough to get married, we need to postpone. Like my whole life is falling apart, or that's how I felt at that time. We had met with our marriage counselors and they were like, Kirsten, there's nothing going on. Like, he says there's nothing going on, there's nothing going on. We call off the wedding. I'm like very anxiety ridden because I'm like, okay, either he's cheating on me or like I've completely lost touch with reality. We made the decision that we would remain together and work on building trust. He told me that like it was my fault that we weren't going to get married and it was just because I didn't trust him enough. So anyway, fast forward, it's September 30th, our wedding day, and I unlocked the door to the house that I had bought for us. So he had none of his own money in the house. I did the entire down payment, put it in both of our names. So
okay, so let me pause it right there, and we're going to give a little bit of context here. So number one, guys, I don't support cheating on this channel. Just a heads up. I don't really care if you're a man, if you're a woman. I don't think cheating is a good thing to do. I don't support it. Don't particularly care which way it goes. Now, I want to highlight some funny things about this woman's situation. Number one, she's probably either dating a Chad or she's probably realizing that she's run out of time here. Because the only situations in which women are the ones who are paying for dudes is when they realize that, hey, I really need to make this work now. I need to take anything I can get. Let's move in together. Let's do the house. Let's do the marriage. Let's have kids. Because I'm not going to be able to have kids in a couple of years' time. Okay, so that's reason number one, guys. When they start to shift things like this, it's usually because they're dating men who are very highly attractive and they'll do anything for these guys, you know. Whether or not that lasts long term is a different question. I don't think women provide for men long term. I think eventually they just get rid of the dudes. But usually when women are in this situation, they're paying for men, it's because they're trying to get something out of the guy. And usually it's children, and usually it's the reputation of marriage, because again, they don't want to be that weird woman at the family functions, you know, who still doesn't have kids, and she's like 35 years of age, still unmarried. So she'll make it happen if she has to. Now, she's eventually probably going to leave the guy. It's not going to work out, and so on and so forth. But it sounds to me like she's trying to lock down a guy who she's really highly attracted to, who has a whole bunch of options, or at the very least, a combination of, you know, that plus running out of time. So maybe he's not a 10 out of 10, you know?
Unlock the door to this house and walk inside, and he is butt naked.
Damn! Ugh, that really is awful. But Chad has no scruples. Let's see how this story ends, because it's getting interesting.
So, unlock the door to this house and walk inside, and he is butt naked. He's like, "Why are you here?" And I look down and I see some like girls' boots or women's boots. So I hear the master bedroom door close, and I go in there and I find her, and she's like put his clothes on that were in the closet. I called the police and reported an intruder. Anyway, she told me like, "We're in love, I'm leaving my husband, we're gonna be together." It later came out that they'd been having an affair for quite some time. She told me several months before I ever even became suspicious of her. During the time that he had been cheating on me, he's like telling me that I don't trust him enough. He took out a $500,000 life insurance policy on me. I had been heavily manipulated and told that I was losing my mind. The Monday after this happened on a Saturday, I sold my ring and used it to retain my attorney. I had bought us a house in June, like I said. He, up until the bitter end, tried to steal it out from under me. The husband of the girl that he was cheating on me with took her back, and bless his heart, they're still together to this day. My ex-fiance, he moved a different female co-worker into the house a few weeks later. She had moved herself, her dog, and her mom in, and then they were trying to demand that I pay the bills. 333 days later, I was free.
Oh my God! Wow! Damn, brothers. But this woman really has no luck. She finds the guy with another woman, then sees how that woman has no issues with her husband, and her ex-fiancé moves into the house she bought with a new woman. He expects this woman to pay for the house. Friend.
You know what, guys? This sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? It almost sounds like this is the kind of crap that happens to men all the time. Doesn't it, guys? It almost sounds like the situation that men go through all of the damn time, where they catch their girlfriend or wife cheating, the girlfriend or wife leaves, tries to take the house, and he's forced to pay for things. Oh, also, usually men lose their kids in these situations too, so it's like, where's the part, by the way? At a certain point, I'm just out of empathy, man, because women do this stuff to dudes all of the damn time. I'm not saying it's right. Okay, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. Obviously, it's evil and it's completely cringe, cheating on someone, trying to take the house and so on. But let's not pretend like this usually happens to women, because it really does not. Usually the dude is on the receiving end. Usually he's the one who's getting completely screwed over.
Honestly, go to the beach and fall backward 3 times, because you need to get rid of that bad luck. You just can't catch a break. I'm not mocking. This is awful. I always wonder how these Chads manage to find these types of women who are willing to give everything for them, who buy...
I mean, it's simple. It's really simple. These dudes are oftentimes highly attractive, so it's not that damn hard. They can go on dating applications, and you know, you just match with the women who are like 29. It really is that simple, guys. The same way that women go out here and manipulate dudes, the dudes who are attractive and who have all of the options, they just do the same thing, guys. It really is quite simple. They get on these dating applications. The women are like, yes, this guy, you know, he's looking for something serious. Maybe he'll put in his bio that he's like looking to settle down and have kids. And she's like, yes, I finally found that Giga Chad who's going to take me seriously. It doesn't matter. I'm going to put up the money now to get this house and we can get this ball rolling. Give me them kids. But then, of course, it doesn't really work out for them, does it?
Buy houses and pay for anything for the man. That's why I tell you, brothers, a woman truly in love will do anything for her man. So, as they say, don't settle for less.
There's still men who are 30 years old who still think it's cool to have this like fuckboy persona and like fuck all these girls and like treat them horribly. And it's like, you like boys. You do.
And like, it's okay, but like, you like boys, okay?
Okay, so of course, guys, what happens here? The woman is mad because, again, the men are not committing to her. Okay, okay. I'm so sick of all these guys that just screw me around. I'm so sick of the games. But again, who are the types of men that these women are choosing, by the way? Let's always consider that. So let's continue here.
Dad wasn't her dad and all this other fun stuff.
Hang on, let's line it up.
Let's get started.
Well, I don't know if you all saw that girl's TikTok where she received an anonymous message telling her to do a DNA test, and she found out that her dad wasn't her dad and all this other fun stuff. I recently had something very similar happen to me, and she's kind of inspired me to tell my story. I went back to England for the first time in 3 years, and I took my wife with me, and she was meeting all my family for the first time. We were having a big family barbecue. All my family came over to see us and hang out, and it was this whole big thing. And kind of a lot like her, I received a message on Facebook, and it was from my childhood friend's older sister. Let's call her Emily. So Emily sends me a message. So she says, "I'm drunk. There's something you should know. Your entire family has been keeping a huge secret from you. And my brother, Tom, is your brother." Boom, sent my head spinning. I almost didn't believe it. I screenshot it, I sent it to my mom, and I saw all of the blood run out of her face. So my mum and Tom's mum were best friends, which is kind of why we were raised together. And Tom's dad hadn't really been in the picture. I'd never known him. I'd never heard much about him. Now, my first thought was that my dad had had an affair. And so I see the blood run from my mum's face, and after some back and forth thing, she tells me, "Hey, when everyone leaves, I'm going to tell you the whole story." And so everyone leaves, and now it's midnight, and it's Father's Day. And my mum sits me down to tell me this long, horrific story about how my dad is not my dad, and that my brother Tom and I share the same dad. And this man is a very, very bad man. And my mum and my dad kept this secret from me to keep me safe. So that just kind of blew my mind. And then I was thinking back to the last time I saw my brother Tom, and I was probably about 16, and he would have been 15. And he was acting really weird. And I just got this vibe that he kind of had a crush on me and something was different. And I wasn't vibing with it because I'm gay. And then I recently found out that was when he found out that I was his sister, and he kept it secret this whole time because he didn't want to ruin my life, and he just admired me and tracked my life from a distance. So there is so much more to this story. Stay tuned if you want all the fucked up details. And also, I'm flying home to England tomorrow for the first time to meet my brother in 15 years, knowing he's my brother.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
I want you to notice how her first thought was that her father, or in this case her stepfather, had cheated on her mother with her best friend.
Yeah, see, this is always the thought. The first thought here is blame the dude. The dude was in the wrong. The dude was cheating. Guys, if I had $1 for every single time I saw an example of when a man got kicked out of his family and also was portrayed to be the bad guy when like the woman cheated and he was providing and absolutely everything, I would have a lot of dollars, I'll tell you that much, because it happens so damn often. And women love to do these really long sob stories, okay? And that's what this individual's mother did. She did the whole thing about this big long story about how the man's awful and so on and so forth. I would just argue she probably cheated, to be honest. But what they have to do is they have to make these stories very long, very elaborate and things like this, so that you actually, you think that they were the victim. But guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. A bit of a long one today. As always, do not forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.